Blind to see your spell on me. I can't let go, still with you. Forget to live your life, afraid to be denied. No love with no heart to be good. Bye to the one that I become. So pleased to meet you. You've got it all going for you. You got it all. You got it all. You're smart, headstrong. You got a brain so pretty. Why be so aimless, careless, honey? Yeah. Blame got in the way. What can I say? I've let it go. Now will you forgive and have that chance to play the same old hands? No life with no soul to receive good. Bye to the one that I become. So pleased to meet you. You've got it all going for you. You got it all. You got it all. You're smart, headstrong. You got a brain so pretty. Why be so aimless, careless, honey? Take aim, hold fire, take on the devil inside. Take aim, hold fire. You've got it all going for you. You got it all. You got it all. You're smart, headstrong. You got a brain so pretty. Why be so aimless, careless, honey? Yeah. Take aim, hold fire, take hold the devil inside. Take aim, hold fire, take hold the devil inside.
Welcome in, everybody. Good evening. Good morning if you're in other parts of the world. How's everyone doing? I hope everybody is doing very well. Welcome into another live lesson. Tonight's lesson, we're going to be looking at a little bit of break beats. We're going to be looking at the MNB, RMNB, however you want to say it, by the Winstons. If you're just dropping in for the first time, then say hello. Let us know where you're from. If you come here all the time, then you know the score. Say hello. Let me know if the sound's all working okay. Let me know you can hear me. Andrew, how you doing? I hope you're very well. We'll wait for a couple of people to drop in. I'll just get my phone so that I can see you guys' comments. So these lessons, if you are completely new to this, we run live lessons, or we have been while we're on lockdown here in the UK on, I was going to say Mondays then. We don't do it on Mondays at all. Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays. This Tuesday session is aimed more towards the intermediate drummer, so I'm going to move through reasonably quick. But I'll try and do my best to accommodate all. So we'll try and put some stuff towards the end of the lesson for much more difficult, see where you can take this stuff. And I'll try and go not too fast for you guys who haven't been playing so long. Let me just get my chat up on here. So Andrew, you see you're watching on YouTube. Hope everything is nice and clear on there. Same for Mark. How you doing, Mark? Someone on Facebook, just give me a thumbs up or a tick, or just someone just say yes, so I know we're all working. So these these live lessons, they've been running for a little while now. Obviously this is from my home studio. This lockdown has been a massive learning curve, so it's been a case of all my lessons have ended, my one-to-one lessons, so what can we do? So we've started doing these free online lessons. I don't know how long they're going to go for, but I've been enjoying them, and everyone's been giving good feedback. So we shall continue until I get maybe my private lessons back and I can't do it anymore. But we'll discuss things a little bit closer to then. So let's get stuck in. So we would normally do a warm-up, wouldn't we, guys? So tonight we're not going to do that. Right? We're going to get straight into the lesson. We're going to have a slight different format tonight. Now, what I always do is show you guys the notes at the top of there. Got a couple of different cameras. You can hopefully see what's going on. So this Amen beat, right? We need to know a little bit about that before I teach you, right? I'm not going to talk for hours, but just bear with me for a moment, right? So I don't know what year. Maybe I should have looked this up, but a long time ago, the Winstons played a track. And in this track was a sudden, out of the blue, completely out of the blue, drum solo, I suppose you would call it. It went for 8 bars, and it was a different tempo to the rest of the song. And all of a sudden, it came in, and then it went again. And years later, the first samplers came out, and it just happened to be the same year that this song had been re-released or remastered or something along those sort of lines. And people picked up on this song, cut out that little sample, started putting in their samplers, started turning them to kind of hip-hop beats. Now, these days, this beat is in loads and loads of songs. What we'll do before we learn it, let's just see if you can hear this. So someone give me a thumbs up. So this is the actual beat here. I'm fairly confident this will work, but if you hear nothing, then please let me know. And it loops around and around. If I take the song back a little bit further, then you can hear how obscure this was compared to the rest of the song. So this is the song that was ticking along. So that's what we're going to learn. Now, why are we going to learn it? Well, because it's in thousands and thousands and thousands of songs. Faster than that, often. Sometimes that speed, and obviously on a much more modern sounding equipment, all right? We're also going to look at the faster version. So if I play this is the same beat, but taken up to 175 beats a minute. I'll explain why later, but have a listen to this. This will be a little bit more what most people would be used to hearing. So we got, Jojo Mayer right there, or we've got all of our drum and bass stuff. Now let's get stuck in then. So it's fairly easy to learn this if you've done some of these beats before. So letter A, right? All we've got. The first thing I should say is he plays it on the ride cymbal. It sounds like there may be a hi-hat going at the same time, like, and there's kind of a crash cymbal at some point in there. Now instead of hitting a crash, I'm going to hit the edge of the ride cymbal here. So the first bar anyway is all on the ride cymbal. We've got this simple pattern here. So have a look at the numbers that we've got written in there. Let's go a little closer so you guys can see everything that's going on there. The second bar is the same, right? So that's why to the right hand side you can see letter B right next to it. So we can spend a couple of minutes on this. For you guys, more advanced guys who are waiting for the good stuff coming later, just hang in here, all right? Use this as a bit of a recap for you. Maybe play it left-handed or something. So what we've got here, look, is the main beat. So I've got 1 and 2 and 3 E, and then I've got that double bass drum. And now, if you're a complete beginner, you might struggle to get the speed of that, so just do 1 bass drum. But those who can, put 2 in there. 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and I'm gonna do that with a metronome. For those just dropping in, let us know you're watching from. It always amazes me, or we've got people all around the world from watching this. So if you're from a different country to England or Ireland or Scotland, I'm interested to know. Let me know. For the other guys, how you doing? Dusty, thanks for dropping in. Right, what speed should we go? So let's say 80. And let's have our trusty friend talking. We should give this guy a name, shouldn't we, for these lessons?
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and
someone give me a name for him.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
So the beat is going to be that speed at the moment.
3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and
also, let me know if you can hear that metronome, right? I'm
1
hoping you
and
can.
2
And
and
if you need it
3
louder,
and
let me know as
4
well.
and 1 and 2
Mark,
and 3
it's a
and
pleasure, man.
4
No worries
and
doing this.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
So this is
and
70
1
beats a
and
minute.
2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and
Let's take that
4
tempo
and
way
1
up,
and
okay?
2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and
So the
1
song
and
is
2
around
and
about
3
this
and
speed,
4 and
114.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3.
Drum and bass is 175 as a sort of a you know, a throw out there figure, but I'm going to go back 160, all right?
2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4
So
and 1
1,
and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2
Okay.
and 3 and 4.
so there's 2 bars of that, all right? If you can't quite get it yet, pause the video, practice it, come back to us. So A and B, same thing on the ride cymbal. This is where it gets a bit more interesting. So backbeat, what's a backbeat on drums? Well, backbeat is just the 2 and the 4 normally for the snare. So if I'm playing this beat, those rim shots are called backbeats, all right? They're normally on a 2 and a 4 in normal sort of pop rock music. You can see in this one, look, the second backbeat has moved to the and of 4. So if I take away the inner beats and I play a normal groove, move the backbeat, it might sound like this. Yeah, we with me at the moment? Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to quickly question there. I like to answer questions while we're on the fly. So if you've got questions, jump in with them, okay? So Mark just asked, what metronome have I got? You probably can't see it from this camera, but it's just called Pro Metronome. It's on Android. You can probably get it on your Apple goods as well. I think it costs like £3, and that's only if you have the extra stuff on there where it's got some crazy stuff to do with polyrhythms and stuff like that. It is very easy to use. Go and have a look at that. I'm not endorsed by them or anything. I paid £3 the same as you will, so it's a nice metronome. I like it. Right, so that's the move backbeat. So let's break this one down a little bit. If I go nice and slow, so I'm going to go
1 and 2
That's
and
75
3
beats a
and
minute.
4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4.
Okay, wicked. Yeah, so Dusty's over on YouTube at the moment, Mark, and he just replied to that. We appreciate that. So he said, yes, it's on Apple, $3.99. That's in UK money, so that's got to be less than $5 for you guys who are in dollars. We can't pause the video. Yeah, good point. Okay. So for the guys who can pause the video, it's going to be watching it on the watch back, okay? So yeah, I just realised, yeah, you can't pause it while you're watching, can you? You're going to have to sit through it all, I'm afraid, and then go back afterwards and watch it again. It's a shame they can't do that, isn't it? I'm surprised Facebook hasn't finished that. Figure that out. You know, when you're watching a movie and you want to make a cup of tea, you pause it and you come back and you unpause it. They could do that on Facebook Live. Anyone who works for Facebook, get that to them. Right, so what we've got then in that bar is we've got that move back beat, and you can see on there, what I've done is I've written 2 accents in there. Well, accents are these little sideways V's. There's one there, look, and one there. Now, I haven't written them on these notes. Now, these notes could be written as grace notes, as quiet notes, as ghost notes, whatever you want to call them. It's up to you how you interpret those, right? It can sound kind of cool loud, so... and it can sound cool quiet. In this particular track, what we're looking for is the loud and the quiet. We want the difference. And the other thing that we're after in this track is this track was obviously recorded way before electronic drum kits and things like that came out. However, the drummer just happened to play that ride cymbal with everything played almost exactly the same volume, or like it's going through a compressor. So everything is exactly the same, like a computer was playing it, like as in... So there's no louds and quiets, there's no... So think of that when you're practicing this beat. If you want it to sound that electro sort of vibe, keep that right hand all the same. And the other thing with this, because of the age probably of when the video was recorded, the ride cymbal almost sounds muted. Now I've got a little bit of moonjar on here that you can probably hardly see. So moonjars are these little... Oh, I've got a spare one. These little things here that you throw on drums, these little... sticky things. So if I throw that on the cymbal, you will hear that it just deadens it really. Just decreases that decay, so how long it rings for. So another little trick for you to maybe try to get a little bit of a more authentic sound. Okay, right, back to the music. So we are on, for those guys just dropping in, we're learning the Amen beat, Amen beat, and there's 4 parts to it, 4 bars. The first 2 bars, we've just done that. Dum dum jat ticka 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 jat ticka dum dum. We've just started to look at letter C. I'm going to play it a couple more times, just real slow with the metronome. Then we're going to go to the tasty one, the final one, all right? So here's the same thing. Has anyone else got Bixby on their phone? I need to stop it coming up. On
1 and 2 and 3.
Here we go.
And 4.
So
and
1
and
2
and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Right, moving on then. So this is where we get to the end of the beat. Now this, I'm going quite quick, aren't I? Right, now that's because at the end of this, what I'm really interested to do is to show you how we can expand this and how we can use it in other ways, all right? So there's letter D there. What's missing off of that? Well, the downbeat on 1 is missing. So for us drummers, we're used to going 2, 3, 4 and starting with the bass drum, aren't we? Well, this one doesn't. This starts with that hand part that we've already done. So dega, do, do, jat. So if I see where I put those sweetie lines down, that's just in my brain how I'm thinking of that in those 3 separate chunks. So the first chunk goes like this. That's the 1 E-ander. So the second chunk goes like this. So that's this part. 2 and a 3 E and. So if I say those together with you, we get 1 E and a 2 and a 3 E and. 1 E and a 2 and a 3 E and. And then all of a sudden we've got that move back beat, 4 and. That's a hard one that is, because you're going to want to hear that snare, right? We've got 1 E and a 2 and a 3 E and. Wait now. 1 E and a 2 and a 3 E and. Wait now. 1 E and a 2 and a 3 E and 4 and. Okay, let's go then with a metronome.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and
1
and
2
and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3.
Let's take it up a little.
And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and
I lied actually, we're going to take up a lot. Right, so this is the speed of the track. This is our target, 114 beats per minute.
2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1.
Let's try it again. Here we go.
4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4 and 1 and 2 and.
So we need to talk for a couple more minutes, all right? Hang with me now, right? If I go back then to my screen, oh, come back screen, where have you gone? My screen here. So what I've got here is I've got the part written out in 2 different ways. So this is the whole loop, right? This was what you had at the start lesson. Okay, now what would happen then if you have got in I don't know what year it's 85, you got the first ever sampler. What you would do is you would just get a sample of one of those parts. So you wouldn't necessarily play the whole loop. You might just get your little scissors like I've got here, and I might cut it into 4 chunks to start with. So now I might just say, well, I'm going to try and sample, make a loop of just the second loop. So all I do is I press play. Then what I might do is I might put some effects on it. Oh, they're already on. So that's the original track. This is it with effects. Without. With some effects. Then what I might do is I might speed it up and I might slow it down and I might use it in different parts of the song. Now if I take, say, the third loop, this one here, so for us as drummers, if we're trying to emulate this, we've got to be able to play each of these loops, let's call it A, B and C, because obviously the first two are the same, in any order. So I might go B, B, C, A, if I want to be a breakbeat drummer, for instance, all right? So let's have a listen to this one. And we could easily make a song like that. So if I show you then what happened was what I mentioned before, is it everyone started to play it faster. And people started then to cut it up. Have I got this in time? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3. No, I don't think I've left to put this part in time. No, I'm not going to bother to cutting that, right? But what I'm getting at is what we could do is we could take different chunks and we could then, I'm just going to show you rather than doing that, and then we could loop them. So what it might be that I take the second half of this chunk, look, and I just loop that again, round and round and round. Does that make sense? Someone just said, what software is that on your PC? So it's just an old version of Cubase. So I use Logic on my Mac, which is probably, I want to say the best, but probably the most used, let's say. My band studio, so the songs you hear at the start of these lessons, a band called Dead Agents I'm in. We've got our own studio called Vigo Studios in there. It's all Pro Tools HD. I can probably get around Cubase, the old version I've got on here, faster, which is useful for my lessons, which is why that's on there. Hope that answers your question. So yeah, so what I'm getting at with this is what you need to now do is go away and learn all these separate parts as separate entities. Now, what else can we do with it? Well, before I do that, let's quickly talk about this fella, because there's a bit of a sad story that goes with this. I only found this out this afternoon because I thought I'd do a quick bit of research. So it turns out, I don't know how true this is, right? Maybe I shouldn't trust the internet and tell more people on the internet. But this fella here, Gregory Coleman, so he's the drummer that played this. And allegedly, this guy didn't get a penny. And this song has been used by Dr. Dre and like NWA. NWA. Who else have I got on here? Loads of people, probably Eminem, right? So big name artists have used this beat in different formats. And what happened was, because the way that royalties work, if you write a drum beat, so any of us drummers watching this now writes the coolest drum beat the world's ever seen, you don't get any royalties for it. There's no music. You get me royalties for it. Sorry, you don't get any way of stopping someone else using that same drum beat. Right? If we write a tune now and it goes, it goes to number 1, and then next week Ed Sheeran plays it, then we're suing him. Right? If we write a drum beat now that goes dun 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 dun, and he writes it and copies it, we get nothing. And that's what happened to this guy. And so apparently this guy ended up passing away in awful circumstances where he had no money, and yet his beat is on millions of these songs. And I'm sure you can go away and read a little bit more into that, but we're carrying on his little tradition. All right, so let's have a look what we're going to go do with this next then. So finally what we're going to do is we're going to say, well, what else as drummers can we do with this beat? If I take that first beat, which is fairly simple, yeah? Well, what else could I do with my right hand is what I'm going to ask first of all. So I could play different ostinatos. So letter E there is a quarter note variation of that. So if you guys have just learned this beat, you're going to struggle a bit now, right? Watch this, because you're going to get something from it. Give you some inspiration later. For you more advanced guys who can already play it, here's your time, right? We're going to now start to play. Now, I probably wouldn't do it on the right cymbal because there's not much point, is there, right? But I'd probably do it on something like a crash. So let's look at a couple of others. What if we took the part with the move back beat, so that bar there in blue, I'll play that one for you. what if I take that and turn that one into quarter notes? Well, we'd end up with that pattern. Oops, come on, come in, computer. There we go. That pattern there, look. I find them much more difficult with quarter notes, and you don't necessarily even have to get this during this lesson now. Just sit and watch, and the ones you enjoy, maybe go back and try. So I bring it to the hi-hat now, and I'm going to play that same pattern that's written there. Well, I'm playing that wrong, aren't I? Let's do it once more. Some of you may have noticed I've got my little baby snare down here. So that one that we sped up, what you might notice is when you speed up tracks, often the pitch changes. Now there's things that you can do to say to the computer, don't change the pitch, but the computer still inevitably changes the pitch slightly. So what you start to find then was when drummers started to emulate this stuff on real drum kits, we started bringing out these little baby popcorn snares like this one here. So if I take some of these beats and put it on there, in fact, I've got no microphone on that snare drum at the moment, and the only microphone that's picking that up is my hi-hat, which is this guy here. So let me just quickly turn the EQ off on that, which will allow you to hear a little bit more what's going on. Okay, let's try it. So that's the sort of way that a lot of drummers bring these little drums into use. If I was now then to have a go at playing bar the last two sections for you, and I'll start to split some stuff around the drums. This is enough just to go out and buy one of these little snare drums. It's so much fun. So C and D, look. So that's the second half of this beat. Then what we can do? Well, I got a second hi-hat, so I can start to move my right hand maybe. Maybe I could go accents on this drum, grace notes on this drum. I'll do it slow so you understand what's going on. And then eventually, we can obviously take this a little bit further than this, but eventually that gives us our basic breakbeat ideas. So I can just then ad lib and pull out some of those ideas. I'm trying not to go too crazy. I'm trying to keep this in the range of what we've just done today. Okay, question time. So these lessons always end with a bit of question time. You can ask questions about anything you want. It can be about the gear, it can be about drums, it can be about an old lesson, or it could just be what happens in this, Geoff, or how does this beat go, or can you help me with this? So while you're doing that, I want to tell you a bit about a couple of things. So I've got a YouTube channel for those guys who are not watching on YouTube. Maybe of interest to you. If you've got something from this lesson, you may find you get some out of this YouTube channel. I've got lessons, I've got reviews, and I've got all sorts of stuff over there. So if you just search for Geoff Fry Drummer on YouTube, that'll bring that up. And I've got the same on Instagram, Geoff Fry Drummer. The Instagram one is actually a lot more rudiment based. So my background is I came from rudimental world, and I brought out a couple of books to do with rudiments, and they're not just marching rudiments, but rudiments in general. And that Instagram page is more about those. I just noticed that Gary said, love your videos on the freestyle rudiments on Instagram. Well, good work. Awesome. I appreciate that. So, have we got any questions at the moment? Come on, someone ask me some questions. Everyone else goes quiet when this part comes. No, there's no stupid questions, all right? So this is your chance to ask things. You're only going to know things by asking. If I don't know, I won't bother asking. I'll tell you, go and check out this person, and he'll tell you, well, go and check out this person. I don't like just making any random stuff up that I have no clue about. While we're typing in, because there's a bit of a delay between you typing and me getting them, the lesson schedule is this. So if you've enjoyed this, I'm doing a beginner-based lessons, aiming at beginners on the Tuesday at 7. Intermediate today is obviously aimed more intermediate drummers, and the advanced drummers are on Saturday. When I say advanced drummers, all it means is I'm going to move through it faster, and I'm probably going to talk in a way that I would expect advanced drummers to get. So I might talk about note values, or I might just play a beat twice and expect them to already be able to play it, that kind of thing. But by all means, watch that. As I said before, once you watch this again, you can pause it, you can rewind, you can fast forward, and you can do all that fun stuff. If you enjoy these lessons, what would help me massively is if you just leave a comment, like it, or if you could, even better, share it. If you're watching on a phone, turn it around the other way, click share, job done. That'll help me massively. Have we got any questions? Come on, I can still see loads of people watching. Someone ask me some questions. If there's no questions, just let us know where you're from and how you're getting through this this weird time of lockdown that we're doing at the moment. Is everyone practicing more than normal? Okay, quick question then for Rodrigo. So yeah, good question. This is what we mentioned this earlier actually. I'll answer it again because some guys have just dropped in. This will be a useful one for them to know. So what he's asked are all the snare notes accented, or are they grace notes? Now what I tend to think of is the backbeats of the accents and the ones in between are quiet. So in the notation that you can see on there, look, it's a bit small in it. Let's go in close. So the notation you can see, for instance, there, look, this guy's got an accent above, so he's a loud one, and this one's got an accent above. These two guys in the middle with no accents, the way I could have chose to have written those out is to have put, I am sat so far from the PC, if I get this right, I'll be amazed. Come on, I know where you are. You're in here somewhere. I could have put brackets around them like that to show that they're played quiet, or I could have made them little baby notes by doing that. So what I would say is, yes, play them as quiet ones. I think it sounds better. Let me play the whole thing. This will be a good one for you to use as references, right? So this is 114 beats a minute, the whole loop.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4
again, that's a bad start.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Got some louds, we got some quiets in there.
3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4.
And what I played that time
and 2 and
was actually put a bit of a crash on the edge of that cymbal, which if you notice in the notation, a lot of drummers seem to like playing, which I will very quickly show you because I want it to be thorough. And we're looking at that note there. Look, so some people would play that as a crash cymbal. I tend to play that just on the edge of the ride cymbal. Okay, so another quick question. So Dusty just said loads of practice and a box of cider. Yes, I think that's what most people are doing. So most people, if you're on lockdown at the moment, you're in one of, well, I say probably maybe 2 or 3 positions. You're either self-employed, going on when you can work again. You're furloughed, and you couldn't think of anything better because you're being paid to be off work. And I think those guys are the guys who are probably getting a massive amount of practice in, or if they're not, they should be. So if you're watching this and you're being paid to sit at home all day and do nothing, get yourself on that kit a little bit more. And then the final group, I guess, are out having to work, to do all the work while we're stuck off. But yeah, I think there's a lot of drinking being going. It's funny because I went to my co-op I live like 2 doors away from a co-op, only a small co-op, like a standard little Tesco's type shop. And I went in there a couple of days ago, and I cannot believe the amount of Stella that they've got in there. And they make like the shop has been made one way all the way through, and then at the end there's like the things on the floor, so you stay 2 meters apart, and there is an aisle, like it must be 3 meters of just like this high of just Stella everywhere. So I don't know, maybe people have started taking to drinking Stella. But I think Dusty's further south, aren't you? People drink cider further south in England, if you don't know. I used to drink cider. Okay, right. There's no more questions coming in, so I'm going to start to wrap up. If anyone's got anything they desperately want to know but they don't want to type on the internet, send me a private message. I'll do my best to answer that. If there's anything you'd like me to do during these lessons, then I really appreciate you asking for things to do. I've obviously got a huge vocabulary of things that I can bring, like this here. But I'd love to do things that I know that you guys are digging. So if there's something that you really want to learn, then let me know. I've had on YouTube, I've been doing sort of requests, I say, where people have been asking for certain things. So someone was looking at doing a certain Led Zeppelin song, someone wanted to do a Blondie song, and they said, can I basically teach that? Now, if I've got time, and in the moment I have, then I'll do my best to teach you guys that. So maybe go and check that stuff out. Yeah, Dusty's down in Cornwall. So down in Cornwall, they like a bit of cider. I grew up in a place called in England. English people are going to know this, but any Americans watching, not Gloucestershire, where all the tratters are, and we drink cider. If you've never had cider, if you're over 18, go try it. Okay, right, we're going to wrap up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again. I'll leave up the schedule for a couple of moments now for you to check out. Hopefully I'll see you all on Saturday. Stay safe. If you're on lockdown, stay out of trouble, and I'll see you all again.